Good evening and welcome to Nightfall in Amsterdam. Tonight we are joining an eclectic group as they have gathered, or are gathering rather, to look into a matter that's been ongoing. Seems a number of orphanages, but most prominently one in particular, have had an issue with kids going missing. A few runaways from an orphanage isn't unexpected. Of course, they don't want to be there, they're kids. But this has been alarming numbers, sometimes 4 or 5, and not all of them have returned. In fact, this particular orphanage where the issue has been most prominent has had a total of 8 that have left. Of that, only 4 of them have actually returned, and it was after a number of nights. As we join everyone this evening, the orphanage is fairly nice looking larger residential home, and as people pass by they'll notice a large TV is on. Most of the kids are in the home are gathering in one of the common areas or preparing to turn in for the night. Lights are on, there's a lot of activity in the house. It may not be the happiest place, but it seems to be a fairly active and functioning household. The front light is on and a sign hangs out front, clearly denoting it as the orphanage.
Does anyone in the group look like they have any sort of official reason to be here at all?
No, you guys are all just kind of 3 people who are walking up to this orphanage. Or walking past. Whether you guys walk up or not is up to you.
What's the neighborhood look like?
How is the orphanage?
I only heard half of your question, Molly. How is the orphanage what?
Oh, I was going to ask how it was set up and what the area that question's been asked.
You're cutting in and out, but it's a fairly large. Looks like at one point it was a residential home, and it's been added on to more than once, probably. Nicer neighborhood, somewhat old, but not horribly so. The homes are, if outdated, at least fairly well maintained. Yards are mowed, that sort of thing. Houses are actually fairly set apart. Kind of more the suburban area. Still not the size of full lots in America, but larger lots for a European neighborhood.
Are there any obvious security cameras?
They don't have any real cameras or anything. There's traffic cams at one corner at a stoplight, but that's about it.
You had said some of the kids had come back after a few days, right?
Yep.
What was our source for hearing the rumor?
It's been in a couple of different newspapers and stuff. They've made mention of it. It's been a kind of one of those law enforcement is looking into it, but no leads yet type thing.
All right. So, of our group, who's the most respectable looking?
Well, are you in performance costume?
He's always in performance costume because that's the only way he can go outside without being obviously menace.
Well, then Jones is probably wrapped in a large hooded something. So
Avalon just looks like a hippie.
the hippie is probably the most
Dirty hippie.
All right, then. I vote that the dirty hippie go push the doorbell.
She raises an eyebrow. And what am I supposed to say about?
I don't know. Make something up. We're a special interest group looking to support kids with our unique style of hippie biking metal music performances. I don't know.
While that conversation's going on, Jones is just gonna kind of walk up to the door and press the doorbell.
Man of action.
She just kind of looks up and she says, "Well, I think our hooded friend beat us to it."
All right, look natural.
it's shortly after that this older woman answers the door. She looks pretty much like the picture there, and is in fact carrying a glass of what is something alcoholic for sure. What else might be in there is hard to say over the smell of 80 proof.
Good evening, miss. I heard some troubling rumors. A private investigator, kind of pull out a wallet and do that really quick, like, flip open, flip close thing.
Okay.
Something about troubling rumors about missing children.
She looks at you, turns and looks, and says, "Well, I mean, certainly missing children is a pain." She picks up a bottle and refills her glass, and she says, "Of course, sometimes the ones that come back are even worse."
What do you mean?
She says, "Well, they didn't run away because they loved it here, and they're less than thrilled to be back, I'm sure."
And what about it here so bad that they'd want to run away?
She looks at you as she's got her drink, and she says, "Well, You ever been in the foster system?
Can't say I have.
I'm a
No.
success story.
What's that?
I'm a success story of the foster system.
She kind of raises an eyebrow and looks at you and says, I wish I could argue, but you're not in jail, so usually that's a win.
Do the kids who have run away have anything in common other than being in the system?
It's kind of a mix. 10, 12. Younger kids, surprisingly. Usually it's the teenagers that split, but Eddie and Marcus have been coming home every night. Marcus even got himself a paper route.
And Eddie and Marcus had previously run away, or are they actively running away every night and coming back every night?
No, they're gone during the day, but when you have a teenager who has school all day and potentially some sort of job in the evening, you always wonder if that'll be the last time you see them.
What have the kids that have returned after a few days told you about their experience?
Oh, it's been one of those, we're sorry, we made a mistake and didn't realize just what what the world was like, that sort of thing.
And they didn't have any idea where the others were?
A couple of them said they'd ran off together, but discovered that it gets cold when they try and sleep in a park.
You don't seem overly concerned that these other ones are missing.
Well, it's unfortunately one of those where I'm doing my best, but you do this for this many years and you see kids run away and they report it and hope that they get found by the right people and not the wrong people and focus on the kids who are here.
Can we chat with a couple of them who have come back?
She kind of leans and looks out the door and she goes, so what you're asking is, can private investigator dressed in heavy dark clothing, some sort of neo rock star, and what appears to be either the grounds from the bottom of my teapot or a hippie, and you'd like to speak to a number of kids all under the age of 12 after dark.
Consider us the new Scooby Gang?
I'll have you know I have a perfectly justifiable reason to be dressed like this.
Oh, I have no doubt of that. No doubt whatsoever.
Does anything seem off about this woman?
You can roll a perception awareness.
That seems like a good idea.
Well, you don't have awareness, so it would be a primal urge.
Someone link me to the rolls room.
I'm gonna put it off inside chat here, Tiger.
Awesome, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
good
no, I
because
have-
my link didn't come through good.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty sure it's mine went retarded. No idea why.
All right. What's the diff?
Standard.
I have 3 successes.
I got 2.
I apparently don't have any awareness.
You can do Primal Age.
Yep. Primal Urge is the werewolf version.
Oh. Is there a penalty for not having any points in it?
No, it's a talent, so you don't use it.
Okay.
You just it's base.
All right. How do I do this thing? So it's a number sign.
Whatever your dice amount is. D10. F6.
Yeah.
And if it were a different difficulty, you just
You
to
change that.
change to 6.
Send that in. I notice I have shoes on.
That's a good thing to notice, to be fair.
Right?
The other 2 of you notice that there's definitely something unusual about her, but you can't quite place what. But she is not a everyday person for sure.
Hmm.
So you're the primary caretaker at this orphanage, I take it?
She turns and says, well, you might as well come in. No sense standing on the porch. It's not getting any warmer this time of year. Yes, I'm the curator caretaker. I reside here.
Jones will enter the house since it's now been invited.
She takes you to a small sitting room, and you can see there's a desk in there. She goes, forgive me for not using the regular living room, but this time of evening, I tried to make sure the kids have opportunity to utilize the TV and such.
What time is it? Like exactly?
Probably about 8:30.
Okay.
She says, can I get you, any of you folks, anything to drink? She holds up the bottle and she says, I have Irish whiskey. Coffee.
I appreciate the offer, but no thank you.
I'll pass as well, thanks.
Evelyn will smile.
What's the difficulty on the sense worm?
Good question.
I'm in the werewolf book. I have it open. I should have my vampire book open though. A hot second here. Of course, it says I'm looking in auspice gifts, and that's a breed. All right. It is perception, occult, and the difficulty depends on the concentration and strength of the worm's influence. So, like sensing a single femora in the next room would be a diff 6, while detecting a stink of a bane that was in the room an hour ago would be a diff 7.
So what about detecting what this, if this lady's tainted in the same room? That'd be a 6, yeah?
Yeah, I would say.
Vampire humanity of 7 show up. And that's all it says.
All right. Well, at difficulty 6, I got 1.
You don't notice anything wormish here, but there was definitely something that passed through the house recently.
I mean, it doesn't specify difficulty for the vampire. Just so you know, so we might show up as something.
Oh, right.
What are
I definitely. My humanity's 6, so.
Okay. So the 2 people with you are slightly wormish. There's also some wormish remnants from something that passed through the room, but the woman you're talking to does not have any indication.
All right. Where's your restroom at?
She kind of looks at you and she says, "Well, there's a half bath up front here you can use. The kids are showering at the back one, so that one will be filled up one after another."
Is the this is me asking storyteller. Is the layout such that he could make like he was going to the restroom, but kind of sneak off and look for a basement?
You could try to sneak past the door, but it's pretty much right around the corner.
Oh. All right. Then he just goes into the restroom and looks for anything out of place and comes back out after flushing.
Yeah, you don't really. I mean, it seems like a fairly typical bathroom used by a lot of. There's about 6 toothbrushes hanging in a holder.
No, like blood around the rim of the drain or anything obvious like that.
No.
Okay.
I got 4 successes to activate the first of the sepulchre path. Are there any races around?
Mm-hmm.
You don't find any in the house.
Okay.
Avalon just kind of smiles at the woman, and she's like, "How many children exactly have gone missing? Like the ones that haven't come back?"
Well, we've had 4 of them that were out, and hopefully law enforcement's able to do something and they turn up. Unusual for kids that young.
How young? She's got a hint of there's some concern in her tone.
The youngest one missing is 7.
Oh, it's very young.
Oldest one being an 11-year-old.
The ones that came back literally told you nothing other than we made a mistake and take us back.
They'd been hiding in the woods and at the park, and built themselves a fort, camped out, that sort of thing.
Avalon nods, hearing this.
Any bruises, marks, scratches, anything like that?
No, they were in pretty good shape considering they'd been living in a park for a couple days. But
And when they came back, did you go check where they had built this fort to see if the other kids were there?
I did go. I notified law enforcement of where the fort was, but the as far as going myself personally, no, I did not. But obviously, it's important to find them. But when I still have 4 of those 8 plus 5 other kids here, be a bit irresponsible.
And you said this fort was in the woods near the park?
Yeah, there's a fairly big stretch of woods, but you know how kids are. They went on little ways in.
Oh no, I know well. I used to play in the woods as a child.
She turns and says, "I understand you as a private investigator. Why you might be interested. I can understand even why the young man who was in an orphanage as a child, maybe a little bit of sympathy here, but I have to ask, why is what brings you to our small corner of the city?
I have a fondness for children, and it's quite sad when they go missing. And I had a sister who went missing and was never found, so it touches close to home.
Well, that certainly a valid reason to be personally involved.
Do you have any pictures of the kids who have gone missing?
There's got a couple, I believe. We keep files on all the kids who come through. That's obviously a relevant part of the process.
Lucas is wandering kind of around the living room looking at stuff. Are any of the pictures on the walls pictures of kids or the kids?
She doesn't have a lot of like the kids' pictures per se, but she does have different trophies and ribbons and stuff that are hanging up.
Have any of the kids come wandering by since we've been there?
Not up front where you guys are, but you have kind of heard them moving around back, and as she mentioned, you can hear the shower running fairly continuously in the back of the house with the number of kids in the house.
You had mentioned when we first got here that the kids that came back were somehow worse than before they left. What does that mean?
Very standoffish, health deteriorated, not reliable on following through on schedule. But we just, make sure they get their rest, get enough to eat. So it's always important to make sure you're fed regularly.
Has anyone shown any interest in adopting any of these kids that have run away or the ones that have come back?
Not any more so than usual. We unfortunately don't have a real high placement rate. A lot of that has to do with the stringent restrictions.
What for the ones that came back? Are any of these trophies or ribbons, or are any of them theirs?
she goes through and she says, "Well, yeah, we try to make sure we've got some representation from everybody. Not always easy, but some of the kids are more successful than others. Possibly more well adjusted if they were placed here young enough and have been here consistently."
Wondering if maybe the ones that came back, if they were maybe faster or stronger or maybe smarter than the ones who didn't come back just by their natural abilities.
It's possible, but they weren't out that long that I would expect anything that severe.
Would you be willing to go get one of the kids and sit in the room here with us while we talk with them?
Yeah, checks her watch and says, "I'm sure that can be arranged." She comes back with a young man and she says, "This here is Robert." Robert's a young, about probably 9-year-old boy. She says Robert was one of them who was gone for a couple nights. We've switched him to a homeschooling schedule as well while we identify any physical repercussions of that, and we're working as well on some of the mental stresses.
Hey, Robert, how you doing?
Yeah, kind of shrugs a little bit and says, "I'm a little hungry."
Yeah? Well, I know you're not supposed to take candy from strangers, but I've got a candy bar in my pocket here if you'd like it.
He just shakes his head and he says, "I get sick if I eat too much candy."
I hear you. All right. So we're trying to figure out what happened to your friends. Do you know anything about where they've been or where they're at?
Well, I don't know where the mission ones are. A couple of us went to, we thought Miss Abigail was too strict, so we went out and thought we don't need her. We'll make it on our own. And well, we gotta make sure if we're gonna do that again, we gotta take more blankets with us. And she kind of gives him a look, kind of non-verbally scolding him.
Yeah, it's a hard world out there, buddy. You want to make sure you're ready for it before you go out. So where were you guys staying exactly?
So we had a couple of different spots in the woods, but one of the kids, David, he'd built a kind of a little fort, a little lean-to. Then she leans forward and she says, "David was one of our young men who ran away some time ago. And I think a lot of the younger boys were attached to him.
Is he still missing, or did he come back?
We got reports that he'd been found or transferred. He was never returned here."
And who gave you those reports?
We did have one from a law enforcement and one from another agency. He was going to be put in with a foster home that specialized in kids with maybe behavior or rebellion tendencies.
Robert, when you were out in the woods with your fort, did you meet anybody out there?
He says, "Well, David took care of us. We made sure we were pretty well fed. He knows what he's doing. He tells us all what we need, where to meet him."
Do you know who he is?
Yeah, David was here a little while before, but he couldn't stay here.
Okay, well. You didn't meet anyone else while you were out there?
He says, "Well, no, we kind of stuck to David's." Fort.
And some of the other kids who have not come back yet, they were there at the fort with you?
No, we all came back. David said we should come back, and that he didn't have enough for us all to eat every day, so we should come back, but to not be afraid to visit.
And other than just being in the park on your own, do you remember seeing or hearing anything that you thought was really, really weird while you were out there?
Well, I mean, we heard a lot of stray animals and stuff. I think even though it's a park, yeah, but it's in the it's in the city. You'd think you just hear city sounds, but it's pretty quiet. I slept good until it started getting too cold.
Lucas looks back at the old lady. For the kids that have gone missing, when you spoke with law enforcement, did you give them anything for their canine units to track, something that they could smell and follow the scent with?
Yes, we tried using their bed pillows, but by the time we realized they were gone too, we had no idea where they actually left from. They kind of poked around the park, but all the kids play at the park, so that was hard to nail down.
Is there anything weird about Robert while we're sitting here staring at him?
What's that?
Well, yeah, in regards to the weird, does he seem like nervous or anything?
Not really. He's actually fairly relaxed.
Like more relaxed than you'd expect a 9-year-old at night staring at a bunch of weirdos in his house.
A little bit. Yeah, he seems relatively unconcerned.
How well do you know the children that didn't come back?
Well, I know who they were. Some of them were different grades and stuff, but you can't. You share a bathroom with 10 other kids and you get to know all of them a little better than you want to. Sally
Can you
was
tell me?
stinky one.
Wow. Can you tell us anything about them?
I mean, they're all different, but they were just, I don't know, maybe I thought they just seemed like we were a bunch of kids. I don't know if I asked David if he'd seen them, but he didn't really answer. And then you see the woman kind of shaking her head a little bit. She says, "I think that might be enough now. Robert, why don't you get some?"
Does she seem nervous at these questions now that she's sending him off?
She seems more upset at him coming back over and over to the same idea here.
Okay.
Lucas gets up and goes into the bathroom again. Closes the door, looks in the mirror, and steps sideways to see what the Umbra looks like.
It's a fairly cozy, pleasant place.
All right. There's not like a bunch of negativity or like pain spirits or anything going.
No, not really. I mean, it's an orphanage. The kids are thrilled to be there necessarily, but nothing like unusual for a group of kids.
All right. Anything weird about the house that I can see while I'm over there before I pop back?
On the Umbra side, it looks like everything is reinforced almost.
Reinforced with what?
You're not quite sure. It just seems like spiritually it's really strong and anchored.
Like different than if the whole house was awakened, kind of a thing?
Yeah, not like it's awakened, but definitely like it's more permanent. A lot of the Umbra tends to be semi-fluid, especially when you think about buildings.
Right.
Even an old building's only been there 100 years. So for a physical place to have that strong of a reflection, it seems unusual to you.
Can I see any of the surrounding, like the neighbor buildings? Are they anchored like that?
They don't seem to be, at least certainly not as heavily.
Okay. back.
Avalon will just smile at the boy.
He kind of starts and says, Miss Abigail, how late are we going to stay up tonight? Some of the other boys have been making a lot of noise. I can't sleep good. And she just kind of says I'll settle them down. It won't be too long. Why don't you go get ready for bed, Robert?
Thank you for helping us.
Give her my phone number and say, if you think of anything else, or if you hear of anything else, please give us a call.
She says, well, I'll certainly let you know. We'll do what we can do. And you hear a couple of the kids kind of some ruckus from the back of the house, and she says, I'll have to, if you can excuse me, and she kind of shows you guys to the door. It's getting late, and a house full of kids, 7 to 14, is a handful to get to bed.
I can only imagine. Avalon kind of looks at the two men she came in with, and she'll smile at the woman. Good luck.
Thank you for your time.
Lucas gives her a nod and heads for the door.
Avalon will go out the door too.
Jones will head out as well.
Looks at the other two. Perhaps we should look at the park.
Probably be a good idea.
Yeah. There's something off about this house. I don't know what it is, but there's something different. I don't really know much more than that. So I mean, I think that she knows more than she's letting on.
Perhaps. Something the boy said kind of set me off with something. He mentioned being able to hear stray animals. Well, there's perhaps something the two of you might like to see that I've seen. May or may not be related.
Yeah. Before we do that, is there any way we could get a look in the upstairs windows and see if there's anything weird going on up there before we leave, like a tree we could climb up or something?
I mean, there's certainly trees.
Ooh.
Grown man climbing one in a residential neighborhood, that's up to you. But
I mean, It's dark out, right?
It is.
Is there anyone else out on this fine evening in this little neighborhood?
You don't see anyone out and about.
Are there windows to indicate like a basement area in the house?
There's not on the front, but you could see like on one side they have like actual egress windows, so they probably have bedrooms down there.
Is it accessible enough that I could just like lay down real quick and stick my head in there and have a look?
I mean, you could certainly stick your head in the window well.
Yeah, let's do that.
You see what looks to be like a teenager's bedroom, so there's like rock posters on the wall and movie posters and that sort of thing.
But just
What?
a standard, normal-looking bedroom.
Right. Lava lamp was on.
All right. Well, Avalon, what were you thinking about the stray animal noises?
She kind of makes a cringy face. I happened to get some information in park, and well, this way it looked like a bloody massacre. And she kind of looks around. Stray dogs, cats, maybe more.
And you know where this was at?
I can take you there.
I think that's a good place to start.
I hope neither of you are squeamish.
I'm not.
Nope.
And she motions for the two of them to follow her, and she'll lead them to the spot where she saw the things.
So the first thing you guys would notice is even as you were walking up, you would notice a lot of smell of carrion, of dead.
I do not notice that. I have anosmia.
What's that?
I have anosmia, so I don't smell anything.
Is there anyone else in this area where we're at?
You don't really notice anyone in the area, no.
And I assume that all three of us know what all three of us are.
Probably not, honestly.
Probably not, no.
I know Jones hasn't met either of your characters, and there's nothing really that, like,
Okay.
he has no auto-detect powers, so...
Right. Okay.
Neither does Avalon. I mean, we might be able to make a perception awareness roll to try to at least gather that there's something off about the others. But
Well, you know you're a little wormy, but other than that,
right.
okay, never mind then. So just the smell.
So you at least have an idea.
As you guys get closer and the smell gets worse, and Tiger, you don't notice or care. You see it's kind of like a hollow between tree roots where it's, the ground is sunk a little bit, and there is a stack of animal bodies there. Kind of shrunken and in various states of decay.
All just animal?
Yes.
You know what did just happen upon it? Oh, we'll look at Avalon.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
Do you know what caused this? Or did you just, happen upon it?
I do not know what caused this, and she'll kind of look around and up in the sky. She's obviously looking for her raven. And I did not just stumble upon it.
Bramwell swing down.
And she'll kind of hold her arm up for him to land on. She'll point at Bran and she'll say, ravens are extremely intelligent and good at finding things like this.
Also chatty sometimes.
That they are. She smiles. And she kind of looks around and she's like, however, there's something missing.
What is it?
There was another body here, and she kind of cringes. Looks like if she could puke, it looked like she might. There is a human body here that is not here.
Any signs of bodies being dragged away?
You don't see anything.
Are there any wraiths here?
Yes.
Child, she cringes.
There's actually a couple of them here. Tiger, there's a child, and there's also 2 men.
He's gonna wave at him.
They both the 2 men especially just kind of look at you. The child wraith kind of runs up to you and starts jumping up and down and waving. And
I'm assuming that we see him waving at nothing.
correct.
Avalon raises an eyebrow.
Do either of you have some paper, pencil maybe?
I don't. I can turn on my voice recorder on my phone, though.
super useful, but I appreciate it.
Do that.
Avalon has some business cards and a pencil.
That'll work.
She'll hand him a couple, so he's got them.
He'll write on the back of one of them. Hello, my name is Jones. What's your name? And he'll like show it to the kid, and then he'll grab another business card and kind of put his finger, like he's writing with his finger on the back of it.
Do you want the kid to basically like spell out his name?
Yeah,
Finger signs.
yeah.
Give me a.
Best I can do.
I'm gonna go with intelligence and empathy.
Alright. Analytical apply?
Yes.
What's the difficulty?
Let's go with 7.
Alright. I got 5 successes. Double things.
So you're able to pick up fairly clearly and easily that this young man's name was George. The two larger guys kind of start trying to crowd in a little bit, but they seem a little reluctant as they realize you can see them. You know, they obviously they want to communicate too. This is an opportunity they haven't had before, but they also seem nervous about why can you see them type thing.
He's going to write on the back of the business card, how did you get here?
Yeah. Doesn't even bother writing, he just points to the pile.
Were you looking for those animals?
He shakes his head and kind of makes walks over to the pile and he kind of flops down in it. He makes like a play dead face, tongue hanging out, eyes rolled back thing.
Do you know how you got here?
He kind of just walks, like motions walking. I'm going to have the rest of you guys give me a perception alertness. Tiger, you can too, but yours will be a diff 7 because you're distracted.
Fair enough.
Okay. What's the diff? Sorry.
Standard for you.
I got 1.
Nothing.
Yerp.
So you guys are completely caught off guard as you hear a voice behind you and says, there's better places to play out here.
Avalon is going to look over at the sound of the voice sound like.
Lucas wheels around very aggressively.
And it's the young man you see there, who looks to be about 10 or so. And he motions, and he just kind of turns and he says, "Come on this way. I'll show you this. This is, well, it's like playing at a dump."
Avalon just kind of looks at the kid.
Who are you?
He looks at you, and he goes, "I'm David."
Avalon looks at Lucas. Oh, David.
Good to meet you, David. So, where's this better place to play?
He gestures and he says, "No, there's lots of them, but I've got we've got a fort, we've got, different place. So there's a little, I wouldn't really even call it a cave, but you crawl under some big shrubs, and we gotta hang out under there." A couple of my friends have built a little campfire down by the creek, but
How many friends do you have that are hanging out down by the creek right now?
oh, just one right now. But I have others that come and visit, and sometimes they stay for a day. Sometimes they don't stay at all. They just stop in and say hi.
Hmm.
A lot of them like to bring me Kool-Aid.
David apparently doesn't seem weirded out at all by us. Is that a true statement?
Yeah, he's kind of seems to be just taking it all in stride.
So what's the deal with this spot? Who does that?
He
And she kind of glances over by the tree.
kind of looks.
It's kind of creepy, don't you think?
Well, we had a lot of garbage out here, and I try and clean it up or keep what I can use. I got some nice chairs that were thrown out here, but I think this one is one of the shelters or something. I don't know. There's a guy came by with a van a couple times in this area, and now we have this nice pile.
Comes out with a van.
What's
Is it
this
like
now?
what kind of van?
And he just kind of shrugs and says, I don't know the brand, just had a room in the back for a bunch of stuff for people if you wanted to go that way."
Oh. Did the van have any markings on it?
Yeah, says just kind of like a hose type picture. Like a water faucet shape.
Interesting.
How many times have you seen this van?
No, he's been through a couple times. The dumping didn't start until about a week ago or so, but at least these dumpings, there's been other garbage.
Oh. You said there's better places to see here, huh?
Well, it's all kinds of different things. I hang out here a lot.
Hmm. Does anything seem off about him?
Not really. He just seems like a lonely kid in the park.
Are you out here with anyone else, or are you staying with people, or who are you with?
No, I got some foster parents. They kept wanting me to go to counseling though, so I came out here. I got some friends that come out. Like I say, some of them they stay longer, some of them don't. But
Hmm. I would love it if you'd show me some of your fun places. She smiles at him. I enjoy playing in the woods.
he takes you first, and there's some big overgrown shrubs, and he kind of points to where there's kind of some of the lower branches have been bent off or beat back, and he says, "Well, here's a tunnel into that one. I've hung out in there. Not bad to sleep in as long as it's not raining too hard."
Oh.
Whenever he showed up, did George or either of the other ghosts seem to react?
Um, George kind of seemed more positive and responsive to him.
Okay.
Avalon's gonna look at Bran and just kind of wiggle her arm a little bit in the sense that he should fly and watch over things.
And he does. He takes off and he turns just circling around.
And she's gonna look into this tunnel space that he's shown her. Like, how wide is it?
It's wide enough that you guys might be able to squeeze through. The kids can probably go through on hands and knees fairly easily.
Hmm. I don't know if I can squeeze in there. I might be too big. She kind of smiles at him.
He just
She
kind
examines the hole.
of looks and says, "Yeah, maybe not. Maybe the fort will be better."
She'll offer a hand and say, "Lead the way."
He leads you to basically like a stick teepee lean-to type fort.
Okay.
And he says, well, here we are.
She kind of looks at the fort. This is very well built. How long has it been here?
He just kind of looks at you and he says, I don't remember. I put it together some time ago. The tree was an old windfall, so I dug out around the bottom of that. It worked pretty good.
No.
Hey guys, I gotta drop off. Sorry.
That's
Okay.
all right. You catch a whiff of something strange and wander off.
See you guys.
See ya. Okay. So she's just gonna kind of check the fort area out. Is there anything off about it? Strange about the fort or the area around it?
Give me a perception alertness diff 8.
Nothing.
I got one.
With 1, Jones, you wouldn't notice the smell, but you would notice there's a couple of spots where the wood is kind of sticky, tacky almost, and there's it's some sort of dark color staining it.
What happened there? Just spill something?
He says, well, kind of. One of my friends who was helping me hit his hand pretty bad.
Oh no, is he okay?
I think so. We were able to, after he woke up and realized where he was, he's fine.
Mhm. She's just gonna keep checking the space out curiously.
David
Oh,
kind of moves around a little bit, and then he says, well, there's not much room, but you guys can stay here tonight if you want. I haven't had time to go find any food yet, though.
Huh. Well, perhaps there's something here that you don't know about that would suffice for food. And she looks at the kid and she says, Forest can have plenty of tasty treats if you know what you're looking for. Berries and various other plants. And Avalon will actually start looking for plants that are edible.
David kind of gestures and he says, "Well, I think my friends are going to be back later tonight, so I better go find something for them to eat. But if you
I
want to
can
stop
help.
out and play some more later,
I can help you find things to eat."
he kind of looks at you and then he looks over at Jones and then back at you and he goes, "No, I think I can handle it. It's less suspicious sometimes when a kid walks up."
She raises an eyebrow. Well, perhaps you could tell me what you had in mind. Perhaps I'll leave something here for you.
Yeah, looks at you and looks at Jones again and he leans in real close and he goes, shakes his head and he goes, "I know what that does."
You know what does?
He kind of smirks and he goes, "The stinky one is gone. We don't have to hide it anymore."
What? She raises an eyebrow. Can I try to figure out what the hell he's trying to tell me?
You can. You can also roll me a Dex Athletics.
Oh, awesome. A standard difficulty?
Yes.
Both of us.
Yeah.
I have 2 successes on a Dex Athletics.
Is that a yeah, both of us, or a yeah, just her?
Both you guys, sorry.
Strength Dex it is.
Strength Dex.
Strength Dex. I don't have any athletics.
Oh,
But I got 2 successes.
yeah, I got 2.
Alright. Suppose I need to roll his, that would help. Huh? 2. So you guys are able to, both of you kind of move and respond, get out of the way. Just as David grabs a snake out of some sticks and leaves, and he picks it up and he bites it. And you both can quite clearly see fangs when he does so.
Shit. Avalon just looks at him. I see. What do you... The stinky one is gone. Our friend who is out here that went wherever he went. She looks at him and crosses her arms.
He says, "Right, stinky one. Smells like a sweaty dog."
Well, I mean, not everybody can have a superb scent.
Probably not. Something I want to have a stinky dog around while I'm eating.
Eva glances at Jones and glances back at David. And you live out here.
Well, it just seemed like the best spot.
Why is this the best spot?
He says, "Oh, there's not many people out here, but close enough. I can blend in. People don't, we see a young kid running further into the woods, they're gonna be suspicious. Kid playing at the edge of the woods, though, that's not uncommon."
How much do you know about what you are?
He just kind of shrugs and says, "Well, I know how to eat. I know how to make friends. I know how to have some friends that come and visit, but live their normal life, and I know not to let other people see me who aren't like us."
And what about the others that come out here? Surely there are other children that come in and out. You said you have people that come visit you.
Yeah, I got some of those friends are, they come out to visit, and when you say visit once a month, we're fine, but a couple of them have kind of set up their own forts here in town, too.
Oh,
Yeah, we each got our own area. We don't want to be crowding each other. We each got our own group of friends, but we kind of hang out too. And
huh. Hmm. And you've been out here for quite some time?
yeah, I mean, it's been a little while now. I don't keep track this as well.
All right, well, who taught you the things you needed to know to survive?
Oh, yeah. We always called him Crazy Mickey, but I don't know that he was as crazy as we thought. But
Why?
yeah,
Why do you say that?
well, yeah, he used to talk about monsters and that sort of thing. And we always thought he was just trying to scare us. And, here we are.
Here we are indeed.
I don't know that he meant to make me, but I think he was a little thirstier than usual and didn't realize it. Got carried away, and then he panicked after he realized what he did. He used to feed off the drunks, and I think he liked the way it felt, but they hadn't been around in a while.
No. Avalon kind of glances at Jones.
Jones just kind of shrugs. Do you know who or what put that bag of dead animals over there?
Well, I mean, I think there's a shelter that would gross them there, especially some of their cats. And he just kind of shakes his head and he says, "There's so many cats." And I got a little hungry and it didn't take much to overdo it with cats. So I had to put it somewhere.
Is that what happened to George?
He just turns and says, "I don't want to talk about George."
Too bad.
Please tell us.
And he kind of looks around. He says, "That was before I knew how to make sure my friends were okay, even if I got too hungry."
Well, if it helps, then he doesn't seem to be upset with you.
Some days I think he's still here to play with me, but
I could show you how to see him.
that might be nice.
It'll take some time, but I don't mind teaching you.
I would like that. You're welcome to come back, and we always like to have visitors. Be nice to have somebody to play with who knows what's going on. Some of my friends, they only know what I can tell them. And
Speaking of friends, there are missing children that are said to hang out in these parts. Do you know where they would have went if they aren't here?
I told you, we all kind of set up our own areas. We can't all be in the same place, or people figure out we're there.
Okay. Are they all like us?
He looks and he says, "Well, we already talked about George.
Right.
Then there's Sarah. She got a place." He just kind of shakes his head and he says, "He found a place in a storeroom by the mall. She likes it because she can get fancy clothes for free. And she finds all the rich girls become her friends when they come to visit."
Huh.
And then he said there's Jacob, and well, he went down by the water and there's not as many kids down there by the apartments and stuff, but there's still some. And you are smart though. He doesn't make any more friends like us. He just gives them a little bit, and then he gives them some cool stuff, and they keep coming back, but they keep doing their regular thing every day. And then people don't come and bother them as much. So that's what I did with a couple of my newer friends from the orphanage. That way they go back and people aren't. Otherwise, we have too many people out here, and it's hard to play when you have to hide all the time.
It's true. Are any of those names the names that were given to us, like the George and Sarah?
Yeah, that would have been the 3 of the other 4 that were missing. She didn't mention David because he'd been gone quite a while.
Okay. So did Crazy Mickey, as you call him, have anything to do with what happened to the...
No, he came back a couple times though and told me more, and I think he felt bad about what happened, so he hadn't been coming around anymore, which meant I didn't have anybody like me. So then, when my friends were at the park playing, I had them come over and they stayed to play with me, and then I talked them into playing late, and then I decided that I didn't want them to go at all. And if they were like me, they wouldn't have to.
Oh, that makes sense. It can be a lonely existence.
Yeah, it turns on, and he says, "I really should be going though. I need to find some things tonight here." But you guys should definitely come back. We can play again.
For sure.
I would like that.
He kind of waves and says, "And if you happen to come across any blankets or tarps, that would be nice for my lean-to."
Avalon will nod.
And then he jogs off into the forest.
Avalon is going to glance at Jones and motion with her head to suggest that they might want to leave the park for the time being.
Yeah, he'll nod, head out.
And she'll casually head out of the woods. And once they are away from the woods and the park, she will kind of just look at Jones, and she'll be like, "This isn't right."
Not at all.
As much as I hate to do this, we do need to bring this to the prince's attention. It's
Yeah,
dangerous for everybody.
you're probably right. You get the feeling that he's probably making a face under the mask, but A, he's masked, and his face is kind of gross looking.
And unfortunately, the sooner we do it, the better. I don't think we should waste time.
Yeah. So, has Jones had a chance to, like, mate with the local Nosferatu yet?
I'm sure he has, and or at least in passing. They all kind of operate in cells where they each have their own markets and stuff they play in, but they do network.
I know how to contact. It was the sheriff, right, that I had talked to before at Dez's tea shop, or no, at my store that I called there, right?
I'm trying to remember who you talked to. Is that Jules? Jules, you talked to at the wood shop.
Right. Miranda and Avalon had called somebody to her shop to discuss the tea matter. I'm trying to remember who it was.
I think that was Jules as well.
You're right, it was. And obviously she can't directly contact the prince, but it is a matter for him. So she is going to contact Jules and see if she can if he can get her in to have an emergency conversation with the prince.
Yes, if you've got if you need a one-on-one, or if you're bringing other people, or.
She glances at Jones and says, "You coming?"
Yeah, sure.
I'm bringing one other individual.
Yeah. Says, yeah, you can meet him at his Elysium.
Thank you.
And then Jules kind of chuckles as he gets a second message, and yeah, kind of smirks at you, and he says, Prince says you'll start a fire.
Fantastic. All right. She looks at Jones and she's like, by the way, I'm Avalon. And she'll hold out a hand.
I'll shake her hand. Jones.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Jones.
Likewise.
I do believe we have a meeting with the prince.
Wouldn't want to keep him waiting.
No. And she will thank Jules again. And lead the way to Elysium.
When you get there, the forest trails are relatively quiet. There's the Prince's Elysium is not a real popular hangout unless he's got an event, which he tries to do regularly, but otherwise most of the kindred mingle in other Elysiums around town. So tonight is relatively quiet. A couple other kindred perhaps are floating around the park, but the prince himself is in a clearing that you've seen a number of times before. It's got a large fire pit, and he keeps a wooden carved chair there. A lot of times he'll bring in log benches when he's holding court. With him is a man who looks to be dressed as well in a sort of traditional fashion, but you notice a patch over his eye and some bandages across his chest.
She will smile faintly at him and she will approach Gunner and wait to be addressed. He seems to have guests.
And he just kind of turns and looks at you and he nods and he says, "Don't mind Angrim. He's an old friend, family really. We go way back, but he's been here studying with me. He's anything we're discussing, it pays to have him involved. He sees things differently, but there's a benefit to that too."
Well, it's always good to have different perspective. Thank you for seeing us on such short notice, but I feel what the news and information we have is imperative for your ears immediately.
And he kind of says, "All right, well, I kind of assume that, or you wouldn't be showing up. Not that you're not welcome, but people tend not to come out here unless they have a absolute necessity."
Well, is it safe to say you've heard the rumors around about missing children from the local orphanage?
I'm aware of it. I haven't looked into it too much. People go missing a lot in this city, and if I assume they're all related to my business, I won't have any business left because I'll be busy chasing down every news stories.
Well, we figured out where they are and what's happened to them. No way, I don't know if this is his real name, but this was the name that we were given, a crazy Mickey.
He kind of puts his head in one hand and rubs his temples. He goes, "I know Mickey."
Well, he seems to have accidentally embraced one of these children, who in turn has embraced a few others.
He throws up his hands and he goes, "Why am I not surprised? I knew it was a bad sign. Don't get me wrong, I try to be inclusive of the clan list. But when a Malkavian says they want to adopt a clan list to be recognized by their clan, it should have told me right then this was going to end badly."
And, well, it seems that they've also, the child has accidentally killed one of the other children.
Well, it seems to me that that's a right complicated mess, because there's some fairly strong policies about children. I will,
The child definitely showed remorse for the one that he killed, as it was one of his friends, but seems to be a danger to have multiple kindred children running about the forests. So far, it seems that they are feeding on animals, but that could change. And
Well, we'll take that into consideration as well, but if he's a threat and he's violating tenants, we'll have to figure out how to handle that. And if your statement is in fact accurate, that means that any
Now, a few of them do wander in the woods over by the park, but he said one of them was over by the mall.
Well, I'm open to any input. You're welcome to tell me now or send it by post, but I will have to get some of my leadership together, and unfortunately this is going to mean sitting down to a cup of tea, made correctly.
Avalon just kind of glances at Jones.
Jones just kind of shrugs. He seems like a nice kid. I don't think he should be punished because his sire decided to fuck up. He hasn't violated any tenets as far as I'm aware of. He seems to understand that the masquerade exists and is important.
Indeed. He outed himself to Jones and myself, as he seemed to realize what we were. So he's at least forthcoming with the information. Though a child perhaps doesn't fully recognize the weight of what's actually happening. If there is anything else I can do to assist on this matter, I'll be happy to help. And she glances at Jones. I don't know about you, but I won't make any assumptions on your behalf.
Yeah, I'm willing to help as well.
Gunnar kind of looks around. Says, well, Jules is going to be here shortly. I've got a couple other folks coming. Sort this out one way or another.
I do
Turns-
hope so.
Anything else?
No,
Nope.
not on my end.
He says, well, as a thank you for bringing it to my attention. You can both count yourselves as having a minor boon from myself. And we'll reach out to you guys when we begin looking at solutions on how to tackle this. You guys are welcome to be involved or not with that process. That's up to you.
I'll gladly help in any way that I can. The child seemed to like us, so it might be beneficial. That being said, though, there may be a body of the child he accidentally consumed somewhere.
And we'll have to send someone in sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Yeah. Turns to Angrim with him and he says, get a hold of them. We need to sort this out. Get that damn Mad as a Hatter Malkavian in here too so we can find out what his pet project is doing. And he kind of stalks off. Angrim kind of looks back at him and looks at you guys and says, well, if there's anything else you need, here's my number, because Gunnar's not exactly a cell phone kind of guy. Ask him what he thinks Bluetooth is one day.
I can only imagine. She'll hand Gunnar one of her, or Gunnar, sorry, Angrim one of her cards.
Jones will just write down a phone number for him.
And she looks at Jones and she's like, I hope you still have some of the cards that I gave you.
I do, don't worry. They'll also hand back her pencil.
Oh, thank you.
It's not that asshole.
And Ingram says, well, if you'd like, I can show you out. Not sure how familiar you are with the park trails.
She smiles. I've been here once or twice. I think I can find my way out. Thank you.
Yeah. Nods and pulls out his phone again. Alright, anything else you guys want to take care of?
No, I think Avalon is just gonna slowly make her way out on the trails.
Jonesy will do the same, eventually make his way to the sewers.
Alright. Well, then we will wrap up there. There's been another Nightfall in Amsterdam. Thank you players for playing and watchers for watching.